What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Mr. Outlook. Joined today by Raymond Lyons, Wilson Turvey Jr. Ray was in the building for Brown's debut this season. The Seattle Storm kind of spoiled it a little bit. No surprise there. But it was a hard-fought game. Seattle beat Washington 85-78. Uh, Washington, some of the things they were talking about, kind of trying to figure out life with having everybody available. That's one thing, dealing with one of the best teams in the league. If you got another thing, keeping in mind where they are in the standings, another added thing onto it, which we've gone into, detail in at length in prior shows. But Ray, you were in the building today. Just talk about, the initial energy with with folks finding out Elena was playing today, starting the game. Just your overall thoughts of the game as well.
The energy in the building was great, man. Elena, of course, got a huge reception when she was announcing the start lineup. It was, had a nice crowd in here. I'm pretty sure everybody was just, excited to see her back. Starting off the game, it was Mystics jumped out hot. They had an 11-2 lead. They were getting stops and converting on the other end. But something that immediately stuck out to me was the drop in production when the reserves came in. That's still an issue for them. Their bench production is just not where it needs to be. Ezzy outscored the entire Mystics bench by herself. And that's you're not going to be able to compete against the better teams that way. The starters they hung in there and they hung tough, but when they can't play 40 minutes, especially Elena coming off her extended layoff. She played 22 minutes today, which was, she said it was kind of on target for what they wanted, but she was productive, 16 points, 3 rebounds. Natasha Cloud, she came out aggressive, which we talk about pretty often. It adds another dynamic to their offense, where she kind of comes out and press the issue a little bit and makes herself a threat. Just kind of opens things up for everybody else. So that's that really to me was the deciding factor in the game. They gotta find something off the bench, to give their starters a rest. It did seem like it made a huge difference just to have that one extra body back. We're, of course, this is not MVP level Elena. She's got to ease all the way back into it, but she's still that's still a formidable piece to have. She looked good. I mean, she moved well. Of course, her lungs and her legs got to get back used to game speed, but she was effective. On Seattle side, at the end of the first half, I was kind of concerned because they were up 10, and then Seattle's big dogs weren't even the ones doing the damage. Katie Lou, Ezzy, and Mercedes Russell, they pretty much carried the load for them. And whenever you're in a situation like that where you're down 10, and then the opposing team, their main weapons aren't even the ones that are killing you, that's an issue for me, because I know at some point at least one of them is going to wake up, and then that's a whole nother thing you got to deal with. So that's kind of been the story since the second half of the season started. The Mystics, they've been containing the other team's stars in the first half. But in regards to the mean, man, eventually they're going to turn that corner. So it kind of defeats the purpose if you're containing the stars, but then the others kind of do you in. So yeah, man, it's another tough loss. That's 4 in a row. Even still in this state, because there it's not like major things they need to fix. It's just a couple of spurts in these games that they kind of, put the nails in the coffin for them. Like they chopped the lead down. They even took the lead by 1. Then got a couple turnovers that turned to quick points, and then you blink your eye and it's back up to 9. Little stuff like that. They can just avoid those minor pitfalls. I think they'll be in good shape. But yeah, that's up to them. I think they're capable. It's just going to take some mental toughness and fortitude to kind of get through those rough stretches.
Yeah, and like you said, obviously we know what they got to work through, incorporating everybody back, integrating everybody back. I liked where they were defensively for most of this game. I just really felt like it was their turnovers. I think Coach said it. it felt like every single one of their turnovers was a live ball turnover, like every
Right.
single one of them. Sometimes when you have turnovers, all turnovers aren't equal. Some really, really hurt you, and some, it's okay. Not that any turnover is acceptable, but there's the ones that really bite you, and it felt like every single when they turned it over 14 times a night, which normal that's only like one outside of their normal range. They're not a team that turns it over too much, but it definitely felt like I think Seattle got 19 points off the 14 turnovers,
Hmm.
which in a game like this was huge. I mean, honestly, it really hurt. And Seattle, if they're taking the ball at the basket, they're ready to run. If you turn it over, they're ready to run. They want to run no matter what's going on, no matter who's on the floor. And we saw too many of those little spurts. Like you mentioned, we saw Washington going like a 20-5 run. In the third into the beginning of the fourth, Seattle I think it was a couple sloppy possessions. Seattle responded with a couple threes just to ease everything out off, and then even to put the game away. Jewel Lloyd didn't have a great game. Shout out to Ariel and Natasha for doing the job they did on slowing down a phenomenal score like that. But I think the dagger was Jewel driving, drawing essentially three defenders, and just kicking his Talbot for the open three in the corner.
Hmm.
Put that away, and we know both teams what they are offensively. But this was just a great example of a team, one that kept their continuity, and another was kind of realizing exactly what they missed. And it did feel at times like Washington kind of rushed things. I think another thing Coach said that stood out was Washington didn't attack Seattle's length. They like shot into it, and that was
Hmm.
evident. I don't know if you guys saw on the bottom screen a little while ago. Seattle led 11-1 in block shots in this game. We don't see, even though we know some of the Mystics players undersized in the front court at times, like that's a big margin. We don't see that on average. So I think Seattle did a great job there defensively. But even with all things considered, whatever they were going through, like it's still a winnable game. Just what we've been talking about consistently over the past stretch. The little things just really kind of add up to hurt late. But it was good to see them kind of being the team that, see them come out in the second half, deliver a punch versus taking one, as they have been in the past couple games.
Hmm. But yeah, man. But like they typically the third quarter has been a struggle quarter. Tonight it was the second quarter.
Yeah.
They just couldn't get anything going, and then they got to finish as well. Like at one point in the fourth quarter, they were outscoring Seattle 21-9. They ended up only winning the quarter 24-21. And I mean, if you got them on the ropes like that, and you're defending well, and you're able to score, then you gotta finish that game. But yeah, they'll continue to work through it, but they are running out of time.
Yeah.
So so whatever improvements or adjustments they make, they have to be pretty much immediate.
Now, wholeheartedly agreeing. All I would hope at least it's in their best interest to at least have this type of defensive effort the remainder of the way. This was a quality effort defensively. I felt like most of the things we had issues with were on the offensive end in this game, not taking care of the ball, some of the shots at times, and then obviously the turnovers. But they were nearly even on the boards with against a team with that type of length was huge, and we also got to see them have their bigger lineup with. I don't know who was technically the three, but having Elena, Tina, and Maisha out there, and it's gonna take some time on the offensive end to get stuff going. But on the defensive, shout out to Maisha, 17 boards tonight. I think it was a career high. But again, it's just about how much time they have left. There's only a certain number of games. The good thing is you're about 2-3 games out of the last playoff spot. The other thing is, I think if you guys watch the broadcast, one of the graphics was they also have one of the stronger strength of schedules left. So the rest of the way is not easy by any means, but tough loss tonight. It's been a tough week. We told you guys what it was going to look like, how pivotal that opening stretch was going to be out the second half. Again, the good news here is you got 2 more home games this week. You got an opportunity to make up some ground. It's up to them what they do with it. You have anything else you wanted to add, Ray?
No, I'm good.
All right, man. I hope you enjoyed being back in the ESA. It's been a while. I know Washington's happy to be back. You guys have a great evening, and we'll see you guys soon.